Have you ever reached a point where you were simply too tired to keep trying? Not physically exhausted, but soul tired. That kind of fatigue that comes from holding yourself together for too long. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, a quiet voice inside sighs, "Again? You're not broken. You're just done pretending. Done pretending that you know where this is going. Done pretending that control is peace. Done pretending that being strong all the time makes you free. What if being lost is not the problem? What if it's the cure?" You see, there comes a moment when life gently takes everything you thought you were, your ambitions, your titles, even your spiritual ideas, and starts loosening their grip. At first, you panic. You try to put everything back where it was, like a child rebuilding a tower that keeps collapsing. But the more you try to fix it, the faster it falls apart. It's not punishment, it's grace, disguised as chaos. For so long, you believed peace would come when everything finally made sense. But peace isn't the result of understanding. Peace is what appears when you stop needing to understand. Some people call it awakening, but it doesn't feel like light. It feels like falling, like your identity is dissolving, and you can't tell what's real anymore. The dreams you built, the meaning you attached to them, the version of yourself you've been performing, all of it begins to fade. And yet, beneath the fading, something calm emerges, a stillness that doesn't belong to the old you. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it just waits, patiently, for you to stop running long enough to notice it's been here all along. You don't have to fight the falling, let it happen. Let everything collapse that needs to, because what's crumbling was never meant to hold you. You were never meant to carry so much, to control every outcome, to earn every breath. You were meant to flow, like the tide that retreats only to return. So when you feel lost, when the map disappears and the road bends into fog, try not to rush to fill the silence. Don't reach for another plan. Don't label the moment as failure. Sit in it. Feel the rawness of not knowing, because that's where truth begins to whisper. The mind will panic. It will scream that you're wasting time, losing ground, falling behind, but time itself is just another illusion we built to avoid stillness. Nothing real can be lost in it. If you've ever sat in your car at night, engine off, and felt the weight of quiet pressing against your chest, that's life speaking in its native language, not through words, but through presence. It's asking you to stop translating everything into meaning. Just listen. Notice the hum of your breath. Notice how the world keeps existing even when you stop trying to manage it. The rain still falls, the trees still sway, the stars keep burning, utterly indifferent to your plans. And yet, somehow, that indifference feels like love, because love, in its purest form, doesn't cling or command. It allows, it lets everything be exactly as it is. And that's what life has been trying to teach you, how to allow yourself to be exactly as you are. No fixing, no chasing, just being. You think you're losing control, but maybe control was the cage. Maybe losing it is how freedom begins. And here's the strange part. The moment you stop trying to fix the moment, it fixes itself. The weight lifts. Not because the problem vanished, but because you stopped identifying with the one who needed to solve it. There's a relief in surrender that no victory can match. It's the quiet exhale after years of holding your breath. It's lying on the floor, staring at the ceiling and realizing you don't have to rise yet. You can rest. You can let the world spin without you for a while. The mind will protest. It will whisper, "If I stop, I'll disappear." But stop anyway. See what remains. What remains when you stop performing is not emptiness. It's aliveness, the raw, unfiltered presence of existence itself. It's been hidden beneath your effort the whole time. So maybe getting lost isn't about losing your way. Maybe it's about losing your resistance. Maybe it's life's way of untangling you from the idea that you ever had to earn your place here. You are already home. You just forgot how to feel it. You see, most people think awakening is about becoming something higher. They imagine it like climbing a mountain, discipline, effort, victory. But in truth, it's more like the ocean washing away a sandcastle. Everything you built to define yourself is slowly softened, dissolved, until nothing remains but the shoreline, open, vast, and real. The mind hates this. It was raised on achievement, on progress, on comparison. It was taught to measure worth by motion. But awakening is motionless. It is not a climb upward. It is a sinking into what has always been beneath you. It's not about reaching light. It's about realizing you are it. And that's the beauty of getting lost. When you finally stop trying to navigate your way out of life, you begin to notice that life has been navigating you the entire time. Every wrong turn, every heartbreak, every closed door, all of it, guiding you not toward a destination, but toward surrender. When you were chasing certainty, you couldn't see the miracle of uncertainty. When you were forcing control, you couldn't feel the relief of being carried. Think of the river. It never asks where it's going. It doesn't panic when it bends or narrows. It just flows out, not because it knows the way but because flowing is the way. You are the same. The current that moves the river is the same current that moves you. You were never separate. You were just pretending to steer. There will be moments when you still reach for control, when fear rises like a reflex, when you want to grip the sides of the raft and demand, "Where are we going?" And life, in its quiet humor, will whisper back, "Exactly where you need to be." The more you fight the current, the more exhausted you become. And then one day, something breaks. Not in a violent way, but softly, like a rope that's been pulled too long, finally giving up. And in that breaking, you realize you never needed the rope. You don't drown, you float. That's the paradox of surrender. You think it's the end, but it's the beginning. You think it's death, but it's the first real breath you've taken in years. And once you taste that breath, that effortless peace, you start seeing it everywhere. In the sound of rain hitting the window, in the way sunlight rests on the floor, in the stillness between heartbeats. You start to notice that the world has always been whispering, but you were too busy trying to fix it to hear. There's a kind of love that rises in this stillness, a love without center or reason. You can't explain it. It's not sentimental or romantic. It's simply the recognition that everything you see is yourself. Every person, every bird, every moment of joy or pain, they're all expressions of the same consciousness, just playing different notes of the same eternal song. And when you realize that, how can you not forgive? How can you hold grudges against reflections of your own face? You begin to see that forgiveness is not something you do. It's something that happens naturally when separation dissolves. You forgive the world because you finally see it was never against you. It was always for you. Each hardship, a secret teacher, each loss, a form of love too deep for words. You start laughing more, not because everything is funny, but because you finally see the cosmic joke, that you've been trying so hard to become what you already are. The laughter isn't mockery, it's liberation. It's the soul remembering its own freedom. You realize the universe was never serious about any of this. The seriousness was just your mind, afraid to let go. And now letting go feels as natural. Like exhaling after holding your breath for too long, you no longer chase meaning, you embody it. Every small act becomes sacred. Making coffee, folding clothes, watching a leaf drift in the wind. You see, there is no mundane. There never was. You used to think enlightenment meant escaping life, but now you understand. It means entering it so deeply that nothing feels separate from the divine. The grocery store becomes a temple. The stranger who cuts in line becomes your mirror. The moment you used to label boring becomes holy ground. You stop trying to find the extraordinary because you see that this moment, this breath, this heartbeat has always been it. It's strange. People spend their lives seeking purpose when purpose is simply this: to be alive, fully now. But here's the thing. You don't stay enlightened. You forget. You get lost again. You fall back into old fears, old habits, old noise. And that's okay, because awakening isn't a permanent state. It's a rhythm, expansion, contraction, remembering, forgetting. Just like the tides, even the ocean withdraws before it returns. You will lose yourself again and again. And every time you will find that getting lost is not regression, it's renewal. Because every time you lose yourself, you shed another layer of illusion. You return simpler, softer, more honest, less certain but more alive. This is how the universe breathes through you. This is how the beauty of getting lost reveals itself, not as chaos, but as choreography. Every step, every stumble, perfectly placed. So stop asking, where am I supposed to be? You're here. That's enough. That's always been enough. And if you're tired, truly tired, rest. Let life hold you for once. You've been carrying yourself for so long. Put it down. There's nowhere to go, there's nothing to prove. There's only this vast, quiet moment and the miracle that you exist inside it. Listen, do you hear that? It's silence, and in that silence, the sound of everything returning home. There's a quiet intelligence in everything that happens to you. Even the pain you thought was meaningless was never random. Every heartbreak, every lost job, every sleepless night was life rearranging the furniture of your soul so that you could finally sit down in the center of the room. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. It takes time to see it. It takes losing enough times to stop worshipping victory. It takes falling apart enough to stop fearing the fall. And maybe that's what surrender really is. Not a single moment of enlightenment, not fireworks, not bliss, but a gradual melting, a slow unlearning of the habit of control. It's the moment you stop asking, "How do I fix this?" and begin to whisper, "Maybe this doesn't need fixing at all." When that realization arrives, it doesn't shout, it arrives softly, like the first light of morning after a long storm. And suddenly, the same world that once felt like a burden starts to look like a miracle. You look at your own hands and realize they've been performing sacred work all along. You see your breath fog against the window and recognize it as proof of your belonging. You feel the floor beneath your feet and remember that gravity itself is an embrace. You no longer need signs from the universe. The fact that you exist is the sign. The fact that you're aware of existing is the answer. Sometimes you'll still forget. You'll get caught again in the noise of comparison, in the anxiety of progress, in the old lie that peace lives somewhere in the future. You'll think you've failed, but failure can't exist where there's no race. The river doesn't fail to reach the ocean, it becomes it. When you realize that, something deep in you exhales for the first time in years. You stop rushing to the next thing. You stop measuring yourself against a timeline that was never yours. You start living in slow motion, not because you've given up, but because you've finally arrived. And in that slowness, you rediscover beauty, in the sound of footsteps echoing in a hallway, in the smell of rain before it falls, in the way sunlight slides across the table in the morning. Everything becomes holy, because nothing is separate anymore. Even your pain becomes sacred. You stop trying to escape it, and instead, you hold it like a child who's been crying for too long. You realize the pain was never your enemy. It was just your own unloved part begging to come home. The world outside doesn't need to change for peace to return. The change happens inside, silently. You look at people rushing down the street, arguing, trying, striving, and you no longer feel superior or separate. You just feel love. The kind of love that doesn't need to fix, doesn't need to own, doesn't even need to be returned. It's just there, steady, wide, unbreakable. This is not the bliss of escape. It's the quiet joy of being with life exactly as it is. The cold, the heat, the confusion, the laughter, all part of the same dance. And you, my friend, are the dance itself. Not the dancer watching from outside, not the audience waiting for the finale, but the movement, the rhythm, the pulse of it all. That's why there's never been a wrong step. Even your detours were part of the choreography. Even your silence was a verse in the song. You start to see that your purpose was never hidden in some grand destiny. It's here, in this simple awareness. In the way you breathe, the way you listen, the way you let life move through you without needing to hold it. The greatest act of faith is not believing in something higher, it's trusting what's already here. This moment, in all its imperfection, is the masterpiece. And once you see that, you can finally rest. Not because everything is resolved, but because you've stopped demanding resolution. You might still cry sometimes. You might still wake in the middle of the night and wonder what any of this means. But even in that wondering, there's peace now. Because you know the not knowing is sacred too. The mind will keep trying to name it, to define it, to hold on to it. That's what minds do. But the heart just smiles because it no longer needs words. It beats, and that's enough. You may notice that life becomes strangely lighter. Conversations soften, time stretches. Even small moments, holding a cup of coffee, hearing a bird sing, feel like blessings that were always there, waiting for you to notice. You don't chase meaning anymore, you start to taste it. Everywhere. In laughter. In grief. In silence. It's all the same flavor, and the flavor of existence. And then, almost without realizing it, you start to help others. Not because you're trying to be good or enlightened, but because compassion now flows through you like breath. Someone shares their pain, and you don't rush to fix it. You just sit with them silently, and somehow that's enough. Your presence becomes medicine. Your stillness becomes permission. You remind them, without saying a word, that they too can stop fighting. That's the secret the world forgets. Healing doesn't happen through effort. It happens through space, through the gentle allowing of what already is. And in that space, love does what it always wanted to do. It moves freely. So let it. Let life love through you. Let joy and sadness and boredom and beauty pass through like wind through open windows. Don't close them anymore. Don't hide from the drafts. This is the weather of the soul, changing, unpredictable, alive. Eventually, you'll look back and smile at how hard you tried to control it all. You'll see that every plan, every goal, every desperate attempt to figure it out was just the universe pretending to forget itself for a while, and you were part of that pretending beautifully, innocently, completely. Now, the pretending is over. Now, there's only being. Maybe that's what enlightenment really is. Not knowing, not becoming, just being, just this. The mind will ask, but what do I do now? And the answer will come, softly, the way wind moves through leaves. Nothing. Just live. Let the dishes clink in the sink. Let the phone buzz. Let the seasons turn. Let the people you love come and go. Let your heart break and heal and break again. It's all part of the rhythm. It's all the universe breathing through you. And when you forget, as you will, remember this. You don't need to find your way back. There is no back. There is only here. Close your eyes, breathe. Notice that even when you stop doing, life keeps living itself. The heart beats, the lungs fill, the stars burn quietly overhead. And in that realization, in that soft awareness, you finally understand the beauty of getting lost. Because getting lost was never about losing yourself. It was how the universe taught you to be found. And maybe now, you don't need to seek peace anymore. You can simply let peace find you, the way dawn finds the horizon, when inevitable, effortless, silent. You don't have to reach for it. You only have to stop turning away. So here you are, exactly where you're meant to be, resting in the place you tried to escape, discovering it was home all along. The search is over. You can stop now. Let the mind fall quiet. Let the heart take over. Let life be life. And in that stillness, listen. The universe is whispering your true name. Not the one you've been answering to, but the one it's been calling you since the beginning of time. Beloved.